In this week's Trimech 3D printing video tech tip, I want to teach you how to use GrabCAD Print to print onto this. Let's get started. My name is Ricky Shannon, application engineer with Trimech, and today I wanted to show you how to use the manufacturing notes in GrabCAD Print. There's two different really kind of ways I can think of using this. The first way is simply making notes that you may use in the case of production. For instance, if we wanted to say change the size of this hole and put a threaded insert in it, going over to our model settings and go into face, we can click on a cylindrical face and we could hit apply insert if we wanted. We'll go to a metric insert here. We'll just put in a M8 insert into it and hit update. We notice when you do this, we end up with this number inside of a circle floating over top of the feature that we just changed. If I hover over that, we actually click on it. I can actually see that there's a note here to it. It says heat set insert M8 by 1.25 millimeter. And then what I can actually do is I can edit this note if I wanted. So I could simply, maybe get rid of the short portion. Maybe it's a custom one, or we could even say there's a specific part number that maybe internally we have for that, or maybe a parts bin or something in which somebody could go find that particular insert. And we can hit save, and it will retain that information when we click on the note. Another thing we could do is just simply add a note at any time. So maybe this particular hole here, we want to do a call out for something that maybe we're not going to make some sort of change within the model, but we want to make sure there's a note for it in some sort of post-processing phase. In this case, we can actually hit to add a note to faces, and then we could simply type in a note. So maybe we're going to tap this with a 24 by 1.5 millimeter left-hand tap. So we could type in a note that we want within here and hit save. And if we were to click on that again, we could simply see that we have a note. We could even delete that or go back and edit again if we wish. So one way we can use manufacturing notes is if we want to actually make notes for something that's going to happen after we print it. But another unique thing we could do is use it for annotation and sort of communication, say, internally when you are setting up a job to print, or maybe you're not even the one who's actually going to print the job. Maybe you're simply submitting a job to print to somebody else in your organization, in which maybe there's something you want to call out on it. Like maybe you designed a feature on it and you're not sure whether or not it'll print. Maybe you think it could be too thin, or there might be some sort of issue with it. So you can actually click on an area again, and you can add a note to a face and simply say, you have concern over the wall thickness. In which case there will be now a note associated with that. Or maybe, again, you're not setting up, but you want this part maybe all solid, and there's an area that you feel like you don't need strength, and maybe you can make it sparse. You could click on a region of the part and add a note. You could say, print this area sparse to save weight. So we can make notes on our part, and maybe it's purely a communication-based tool, even if you are not going to be the one actually setting up the job and printing it. The other unique thing is that these are tied to the part, not tied to the orientation of the part. So if I were to go and change the orientation of this part, we actually won't lose our notes when we do this. So as we actually go, we'll close out our orientation command, and we still have them here. So what we can also do is once we have these, we're actually able to print these. At the intro of this, I told you to be able to print on paper, and that's exactly what we can do. If we go to the bottom of this, we'll see this manufacturing notes icon. When we click on this, we'll see all of our notes. We could hover over them. It'll call them out by highlighting them. We have the ability to export the notes. And when we click this, it'll set them up so they can export as a PDF. And as we were to look through this file, we would see a full setup of the entire part. And then as we go through, they'll actually call out each individual note on its own page, highlighting where that note is and saying what that note says. And each note gets its own page. So we're able to export this. We could print that, like I was alluding to in the intro, or you could attach that in an email and send it to somebody, or you could review this information during a meeting and figure out how best to design your parts. Hopefully you'll find this useful. It's a very powerful tool that's kind of hidden in here that is kind of one of the lesser known tools in GrabCAD Print, but I think it's really a knockout tool that's in here. For more tips on 3D printing, please subscribe to Trimec's YouTube channel. And if you have questions specific about any of our products or need help with any of this, please reach out to Trimec's 3D printing engineering team. Take care.
Now that's a thin slice height.